Tesla. We got to talk about Tesla here today on the Reaction channel. Why do we have to talk about Tesla? Well, it was Investor Day for Tesla. And I want to show you kind of what was talked about here and give my opinions on this, okay? Now, if you follow me on the main channel, what did I tell you guys about this Investor Day? I told you everybody's going to be super disappointed and the stock will likely sell back off because all these thoughts on everybody thinking like they were going to launch some Model 2 and all this stuff, I was like, that made no sense. And I explained that in yesterday's video on the main channel, right? It made no sense. Like Tesla and Elon Musk is they're way above like announcing a new product, a game-changing product at an Investor Day. Like you got to be flipping my flapjacks. That doesn't even, like, this is ridiculous. And as I explained in yesterday's video, right? I explained that, it's like Apple launching the next iPhone, the iPhone 15 at an Apple Investor Day. Like you don't do that. That would be the worst branding and marketing strategy in the history of like strategies. I'm like, what are we talking about here, right? But now everybody's selling the stock after hours. They're selling it heavy, right? It's down 5-6%. Who knows how much it'll be down tomorrow? Everybody flipping out over what was not said. And we're going to go through it all and I'll kind of give you my perspective as always. And yeah, man, it is what it is. People always get way too excited about this. And that's why I say in the stock market, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news. And just, it's funny how it always plays out that way. But anyways, appreciate you guys as always. Thank you every single person that's subscribed here. I don't know if we're at 24,000 subscribers. If we're not, we're probably like 10 subscribers away from 24,000 or something insane like that. Okay. So let's get rolling with this. By the way, if you're looking to join my Patreon to access the stocks I'm buying this week and selling this week, then check out the link in the description. Also be a pinned comment down there. Every single week, I show you screenshots of my Fidelity account that's in the Patreon portfolio and any moves I'm making in there. Musk Tesla's master plan disappoints with no details on new cars, right? And you know what? This shouldn't even be what the headline is, but it has to be because so many people got hyped about a potential new car. And so it's just so disappointing that this Investor Day is like, it's such a disappointment because everybody's like, oh, they didn't announce a new car. Like, dude, as a Tesla shareholder, I would have been pissed if they showed off a new car at a freaking Investor Day. Like, you gotta be kidding me, okay? Elon Musk's much hyped third master plan for Tesla fell flat with investors after failing to offer any firm detail on the company's long-awaited next generation of electric cars. First off here, I am not of the belief at all, that what happened today fell flat with investors. What happened today fell flat with traders. I don't think there's one Tesla investor in the world that's an actual investor of Tesla. I'm not talking about trader getting in and out of the stock, planning for the next day, week, hour, month, something like that. I don't think there's one investor that's playing in the stock for the long term that was like, oh man, this Investor Day is horrible. I'm selling Tesla stock now. I don't think that even exists. The traders are disappointing because they all got hyped and they thought there was going to be some new product and the stock was going to blast off to $300 next month or something like that, right? And obviously they were wrong about that. So that's just, that bothers me that they try to say it fell flat with investors. It fell flat with traders. There's a difference between traders and investors. The 4-hour presentation, which that's insane, okay? Was long on Musk's vision to build the next phase of Tesla's growth around a sustainable energy future by moving into products like heat pumps, but short on any new details of new vehicles, especially a cheaper EV like a $25,000 Model 2 or whatever we want to call it, right? Well, the 51-year-old executive, that's an interesting way of describing him, the 51-year-old executive officer confirmed a new plant in Monterrey, Mexico, yeah baby, will build the next generation of vehicles. He offered no details on timing, saying a proper product event will be held later this year. Okay, why are they going to do a facility, a new production facility in Mexico, right? I mean, I hope everybody has enough common sense to understand why they're doing that, because obviously the cost will be substantially less. It's substantially less than if they built those same vehicles in the United States of America. So obviously, if we're talking about Tesla trying to go under the $30,000 price point on whatever the next generation vehicle is, Mexico is going to be important to make that a reality, right? And we've seen what obviously the China Gigafactory can do for that company, right, in terms of margins and everything across the board. So this is very, very important for the long-term future of Tesla, specifically around a vehicle that comes under $30,000. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility to imagine they could ever produce in the United States a vehicle that's profitable under $30,000. I just think it's very, very difficult to do something like that. Tesla's vice president of vehicle engineering was similarly vague, answering an analyst's question with only, "We're going to go as fast as we can." The longer the event went on, the more investors, the more traders appeared to lose heart. Tesla shares fell as much as 6.8%, almost 7%, $189 in after-hours trading. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up going to 180 or so. We'll see what happens with the stock over the next few days, few weeks. Before today, the stock had soared from a 2-year low it had basically went down to in early January, the very beginning of January, adding roughly $310 billion of market value and returning Musk to the top of the billionaire index. Musk stated that started the event by outlining his vision for global switch to electric vehicles, driven by $10 trillion in spending to develop sustainable energy worldwide. Earth will move toward a sustainable energy economy, he said, and it will happen in your lifetime. He also took the opportunity to showcase Tesla's deep bench of executive talent. Smart decision by Elon Musk. Smart decision. I was actually thinking about this while I was watching. I didn't watch the entire 4-hour event because I didn't have that type of time today to do that. But as I was watching some of the event and I saw some of the different executives, I thought that was brilliant by Elon Musk. Okay, and you know who he took that strategy from? I'll tell you exactly who he took that strategy from. He took that strategy from Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was great at using different events to showcase Apple's talent at the executive. And he would show off people like Phil Schiller. He would show off people like Johnny Ive. He would show off people like Tim Cook, the current CEO of Apple, okay? And I thought that was always, something brilliant because you got to understand, if you're trying to become, the largest company in the world or one of the largest companies in the world, there has to be a belief that you have a team that is A-plus players. It's not just one person is an A-plus player. It is like a bench of talent that it's just like these are a bunch of A-plus players to take us to the finish line of where we're trying to go over time. So, I think that's important because, I think a lot of these names got to become more household names in retrospect of kind of Tesla kind of moving forward and whatnot. So definitely like that. Basically criticism, he has neglected the automaker since his $44 billion acquisition of Twitter. At one point, he joined on stage by 16 other executives. I didn't know it was that many. Holy smokes, that's no joke. Several who largely unknown to investors. This is why it's important. For example, Rebecca, the head of global charging infrastructure, took to the stage to talk about the company's supercharger network, the Magic Dock, that lets drivers of other EVs charge at Tesla stations, right? Which is, oh my gosh, huge long-term opportunity, huge money-making opportunity, obviously, for Tesla there over time. But that supercharger network, I think that's just one of the huge competitive advantages that doesn't get talked about enough in regards to Teslas. Because when you are even considering, if you were to consider buying another EV, that's something you got to get over. It's like, I don't have the Tesla supercharger network. Is that good enough for whatever else is out there, right? And that's a big iffy thing for a lot of consumers. And that's enough to make a lot of people say, I'm not even going to consider that. I'm going to consider Tesla. What Tesla am I going to get, right? There's also a strong emphasis on reducing costs. In its own drive for efficiency, the EV maker plans to reduce the footprint of future manufacturing plants by 40%. That's significant. Here's why this is so important, guys. If they're going to really, shrink manufacturing plants by that much, that's a lot less CapEx. For the company, right? The bigger the facility, bottom line, the bigger the facility, the more it's going to cost. Simple as that. The bigger the facility, the more it's going to cost. And you have to get so much land, right? And sometimes you have to be on the outskirts of town. So this could end up actually being something that saves on CapEx and could potentially make the company more profitable because maybe supply chains run even smoother and just the production facilities run even smoother so you can produce more vehicles in less time. That would be awesome. Okay, very, very awesome. And, Elon Musk has talked about before, I think he's mentioned something around 12 gigafactories over time across the world. If they make them smaller, maybe they could have 15. If that sees fit. We'll see what happens, right? Chief Financials Officer Zach vowed to cut production costs in half for Tesla's next generation vehicles. That's insane, man. That's something that these right here are very important for us investors. If you really want to talk about what the investors are paying attention to, what I'm paying attention to is what that little paragraph talked about right there. That makes me say, oh, I like what we're talking about here. When we're talking about shrinking the size of manufacturing plants, right? We're talking about efficiency. We're talking about cutting the cost in half for Tesla's next generation vehicles. As an investor, that makes me very excited. Jessica, who's executive director of insights for Edmunds, said that while the emphasis on cost cutting was encouraging, Musk failed to put the cherry on top. An actual look at a lower priced Tesla, if only just conceptually. Why would they do that? Why? Why would they do that? No, okay? No. Horrible, awful idea. What in the world are we talking about here? Like, I literally think some people never even took basic marketing and advertising, like understanding of marketing and branding of products in their life. Like, this is like basic level college material you could learn, that this would be a bad strategy to do something like that. No, like I said, that's like Apple having an investor day for Apple shareholders and being like, here's the concept of the next iPhone we're going to launch. Like, what? No. Horrible, man. It baffles me. It absolutely baffles me. Just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. That's all I have to say about that, right? So where were we at here in regards to that, right? That would have been a shrewd move to entice future buyers given the growing range. No. Oh gosh, would that have been a dumb move, okay? Because all that would have, it's so bad on so many fronts. It makes it so less special whenever they do show off the vehicle. It could make it disappointing when they show off the new vehicle. It could create way less hype when they announce a new vehiel. It could also create a situation where that people are saying, oh, maybe I won't get the Model 3 because I heard this car they showed off at an investor day is coming out next year. Like, it's that on every angle. There's no good that comes out of that in 7 different pieces of bad that comes out of that. Like, what are we talking about here, man? What are we talking about? While growing even more investor love for Tesla. Musk's clear path to a sustainable energy Earth is admirable, but investors may have preferred if Tesla outlined a clear path toward a sustainable profits in a higher growth market. What? We already know the path to that. As investors, we already know the path to that. We're not confused, okay? We're like, how are they going to do this? How are they going to do this? Like, Tesla's got the most educated investor base of any stock in the world, and it's not even close. I don't even know who's second place. Like, literally, as somebody that's been in this market for 15 years, I don't even know who's in second place of having the most educated investor base around it. I literally don't, because everybody else is so far down, it's not even funny. Tesla's investor base is on a whole different level, like a whole different level versus every other investor base in the stock market. And as somebody that holds a lot of great companies and a lot of great stocks, I can tell you, there's no stock I hold that has a more educated base around it. The second most educated, I would say probably Palantir, which is much more on the DL than like something like a Tesla. After that, I don't know, maybe it would be an Apple investor base, but also in Apple, you have a lot of people that just don't even know that much about what's going on with Apple. They're just like, oh, iPhone, a lot of profits, it's good. Like, people buy Apple products, so I'm going to buy it. I'm just telling you, like, the levels of intelligent investor bases, Tesla's on a whole different level with the deep understanding from these folks. Like, even less sophisticated Tesla investors understand way more than the average investor in the average stock. I can tell you that much, man. We're not confused. We're not confused at all. Traders might be. Other key takeaways from Tesla's investor day. Musk confirmed that Tesla will build his next auto plant in Mexico near Monterrey, but didn't provide any fresh details except for the next generation car will be built there. Very exciting. Tesla's senior vice president of powertrain and energy engineering confirmed that the company has broken ground on a lithium refining plant in Corpus Christi, Texas. This is another thing that us investors look at as, ooh, I like that, okay? Tesla's always had a dream to be 100% vertically integrated, okay? And so if you're going to be really all the way to 100% vertically integrated, you gotta do it all, man. You got to do it all. It's a very challenging thing, but for Musk, what Musk hates is Elon Musk hates this, okay? I don't know how many people talk about this, but I think this is important I mention this, okay? What does Elon Musk hate as much as almost anything? is moving slow. Elon Musk wants to move fast, okay? He wants to go to Mars tomorrow, okay? And so if you're talking about anything, why does Elon Musk always want to make Tesla so vertically integrated? It's so they could move as fast as possible, and they hold their own fate, right? They control their own fate rather than having to rely on this supplier and that supplier, and this guy slows everything down because this isn't quite ready, and next thing you know, the whole supply chain and the whole vehicles, everything is taking forever because this piece over here is not fitting into the puzzle. And so this has always been Elon Musk's dream. He hates having to move slow. He wants to move fast, and if you're going to move fast, you got to hold all your cards in your hands, okay? Musk said AI stresses him out, and there will need to be a regulatory authority to make sure this quite dangerous technology is operating in the public interest. Okay, that's interesting. Tesla's now made 4 million cars. It took 12 years to build the first million Teslas, then 18 months to build the second, 11 months to build the third million, and 7 months to hit the 4 million mark. That's incredible. That goes to show you the progress Tesla's made over time. I mean, that's as telling as anything. And that's something that us investors actually look at and are very proud of. One product Tesla could expand to is heat pumps. Musk and Drew, his senior vice president of powertrain and engineering technology, said heat pumps could dramatically cut home and office heating costs. This is interesting. Calling them out is one low-hanging fruit on the transition to sustainable energy. Now, this is another thing that us actual investors look at, and this is very exciting for us to hear, okay? And it goes to show you, and I think this is important for everybody watching this video to kind of understand this, right? It goes to show you, because what you've seen over time is, you know, Tesla launched the Model S originally, right? Well, before that, they had the Roadster, right? Then it was Model S, then Model X, right? Then Model 3, Model Y, Cybertruck, and you know, future vehicles and things like that, right? But why this is so vitally important is, as a Tesla investor, you've got to understand you're not just buying Tesla for whatever the products are, whatever they're selling today. It's also about what they're going to be selling in 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now. This is a company that keeps the pedal to the metal, okay? The pedal to the metal. They don't let off. They don't take a vacation, okay? They got one of the most incredible employee forces of any company in the world, and they're going to keep coming out with game-changing products and services that we don't even see today, but are going to be big, impactful businesses in the future. And that's the part that a lot of people they don't quite understand it when they're buying into a company like this. And you could say a very similar thing to if you bought into Apple. Let's say we're 20 years in the past. It's the year 2003, right? And so Apple at that time, the iPod was out in 2003, right? It was already having a lot of success. Obviously, they had computers, right? They sold PCs, and obviously they were building out their iTunes store and had that all going, along with some other products and headphones and all types of other stuff, right? But the Apple you were buying 20 years ago wasn't just about those iPods and the iTunes store and PCs. It was about what Apple was going to be building over the coming years. And then in 2007, Steve Jobs showed off the iPhone. And then in 2010, Steve Jobs showed off the iPad, right? And then came, you know, better computers, much better computers over time than what they previously, like the computers Apple had 20 years ago were a joke compared to the computers these folks have nowadays. It's like, you know, you can't even compare them. It's like apples and oranges, right? And obviously, AirPods and all the other devices, Apple Watch and all the other stuff that came down the road, right? That's what you were buying that for. And so the Tesla you see today is likely just a small piece of what it's going to be 10 years out or 20 years out. And I think that's what's important for us as Tesla investors to understand, and for everybody out there. And I think that's a point that's missed many times. And I just think that's got to be said, man. For game-changing companies like this, they got a long, long way to go. Okay? The company also said it's planning to offer unlimited overnight home charging in Texas for $30 a month. That's interesting. And a move that echoes the transformation in mobile phone billing. Interesting. You know, I don't know how that's going to work out, but I do find that intriguing, okay? I'm going to do more thought about that and see, and just, I got to put more thought into that, just bottom line, okay? The company also touted its growing, and that just goes back to the whole services opportunity for this company. The company also touted its growing ability to get production facilities up and running quickly. It aims to start output at the Corpus Christi lithium refinery within 12 months. Fast. What did I tell you just a moment ago about Elon Musk? Man wants to move fast. That's the target. Tesla did say again that the Cybertruck is coming this year with volume production expected in 2024. Man, is that exciting. Oh, that's exciting. The new corporate vision aims to build upon the U.S. electric vehicle makers' market leaders' growth from a niche player into a mainstream automotive manufacturer. Tesla's two previous strategic plans were unveiled in 2006 and 2016. That's a great opportunity for Musk to show off kind of the future, right? Musk published his first master plan more than a decade ago, laying out Tesla's go-to-market strategy of building an electric sports car, then a series of more affordable cars. The company has executed on that vision with the Roadster, the Model S, and the Model 3 sedan. Its cheapest vehicle, it starts around $43,000. 10 years later, Musk revealed the master plan Part 2, as Tesla was acquiring Solar City, Musk served as the chairman of the solar panel installer, which was led by his cousins. The plan, as far as solar, it's just the hard thing with solar is it hasn't really been as much of a focus for Tesla because they've been so dang busy on kind of the car front, right? And so, they made progress with solar. It's cool, but at the end of the day, I think Musk in the team has realized, we got to put as much behind the car opportunity first before we really worry about these other opportunities that are coming down the line, because they've got their hands full with obviously incredible amounts of demand here. Okay. Now, one last point I want to cover here. Okay. Because I was watching some, I don't know if it was Fast Money or what it was. Yeah, it was Fast Money today. Okay. And they're still talking about, I've been hearing this for 5 years. You know what they said? The competition's coming. Okay. And why have these folks been wrong for 5+ years about the competition's coming? At the end of the day, let's say you're Usain Bolt and you're running a race with your competitors, right? Usain Bolt always gets out to pretty much a lead. Let's say it's a 200 meter. He's already in the lead by the time the race is 70 meters in, back in the day when Usain Bolt was in his prime. So there's still another 130 meters left in the race. And you could say to Usain Bolt, hey man, the competition's coming. They're going to catch you. But guess what? Usain Bolt's just very, very special talent. And so what does he do? He increases his lead. And his lead gets bigger and bigger and bigger as the race goes on. You're saying, the competition's coming, the competition's coming. And the man just goes more ahead and more ahead. And it's oh my gosh, his lead's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. How's this happening? With special talents, their lead gets bigger over time, not less. Companies that get complacent, those are the companies that get caught. Special companies, they don't get caught. The lead gets bigger. And you keep saying competition's coming, and eventually you just start to look very silly because they're not coming. They're getting beat more and more and more and more, and they're in more trouble, okay? Tesla's the Usain Bolt of this game. That's the bottom line with that. I appreciate everybody joining me. Much love, and have a great day.